Welcome back to Books, Tea and Biscuits with me, Jojo.
And me, Kim.
And Maisie. We're at mine again, and although we didn't say what we were going to be reviewing this week, we are now going to be reviewing, I'm going to be reviewing Stella Rimington, The Devil's Bargain, and Everything But the Truth. And you're reviewing?
I am reviewing Life of Pi by Jan Martell and giving a quick, my opinion on The Book of Night by Holly Black. So, Joe, if you want to take it away, you go first. I'm going to have a sip of my tea.
Right, so I'm going to start off with The Devil's Bargain by Stella Rimington. Stella Rimington, for those who don't know, she used to be the head of MI5. She was the first woman to get herself up the ranks and become head of MI5. So some of her books, most of her books are all going to be to do with spying, and this is no different. I think this might have been one of the first books. I'll give you the synopsis and then give you a taste of it, because it was slightly different. Okay, police officer Harry Bristow made one mistake. He took a bribe to let a man he knew as Igor into Britain. Now he's paying for it. Coerced by this secret into working for Igor, who has become a new man, Peter Robinson, MP. But CIA analyst Manon Tyler has just arrived in London, and amid rumours of a Russian illegal deeply embedded in Britain, she's starting field work. Can she master her newfound skills in time to stop the takeover of Britain's levers of power from within?
Sounds good.
It is actually. Although it's sort of spy, it's not quite. The difference with this, yes, he was a police officer, he's a police inspector. When he first started out, he was working at the ports. He would be there and they would check the foreign sailors that come while they're in port, and they would get off the ship and he would check all their names against the manifesto, and then they go walk about and then they come back and he would check that they all went on there. And this one guy, who seemed to be friendly to him, the first thing he did was he gave him a Russian flag. Now this was during the Cold War, when nothing came out of Russia except the odd spy. So he's given a Russian flag by this Igor, who is sort of acting all nice and friendly, and he understands he's got a job to do and all this malarkey. And he takes the flag home to his son. Only a little lad, youngster, and he's so excited they got something out from behind the Iron Curtain. The next time the ship is in port and he's there, he gives him some earrings for his wife. And these, he says, are glass, red glass on not even real gold at all. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, a friend of his wife's is a jeweller, and she says, or he says, it's real gold and they're real rubies. The third time he arrives, he gives him some money, a lot of money, and he's dressed up and he's gone and he doesn't come back. And of course this bloke is very worried then, because he realises the other two were bribes, so that's what they would be looked at. He doesn't touch the money. He can't tell his wife because she is 100% honest. She would not stand for this sort of thing at all. Eventually their marriage fails because he feels so guilty at everything, and he's risen up the ranks even more. He's in special branch, and he's quite high up in special branch, and this new MP who's making his way in the world, he recognises him at a party. In the meantime, over in America, this young trainee, Manon Tyler, decides she's got to come over to the UK, and she's got a friend who lives over here who's English, and they made friends because they both went to Oxford, and she's let her know that she's coming over. And while she's still in America, there's this ex-KGB officer, and he just talks for the Americans, for the FBI and that, and she decides to sit in on this talk, and he lets it slip that at one point they used to have sleepers who would be in different places in the UK, and they would infiltrate government. And he said that most of them, when Russia fell, they gave up and went back home to Russia, or they just liked the life they were living and gave up, except for one man who's continued doing what he was told to do during the Cold War, and that's the guy who's going under the name Peter Robinson, MP. So it all stems from that, and the initial policeman Harry actually informs on him. He's playing the part of his chauffeur. He gave him a job as a chauffeur. Obviously, he wanted to keep an eye on him. So what Harry did was sneakily make a journal, told all the information at the start of their relationship, what had gone on, what had happened, because he was worried for his country. And he got this Peter Robinson's girlfriend, who didn't realise he was a Russian at all, who was a good girl. She was a nice girl, and she worked for the government, but when it come to them going for general elections and that, she worked in the election side of things, so she would be invited to places, which is why this guy clicked onto her. But Harry decides he's going to let her know what he is, and she was a bit suspicious of him anyway. So he says, I'm going to tell you where this diary is. Anything happens to me, here's my spare key. Go in, get the diary, and can you please give it to somebody who can do something about it? And that's where the story really starts. It's interesting all the way through. There's no boring bits. It's not too long. It's a good ending, a very good ending. He hasn't got a very good relationship with his ex-wife. Sort of, not quite. He has an easy, an okay one, but it's not particularly friendly. And when his son decides he wants to be a policeman, he wants to follow his dad. He's so proud of what his dad accomplished before he became ill and had to leave the police force. And that's what makes his guilt more. That's why he decides he's going to get help and inform on him. But sadly his dad dies. I'm not letting on whether his dad kills himself or whether he's murdered or whether he has an illness and he dies because of the illness. It would give the story away.
Yeah.
So this is really good read. I actually really did like it. I wasn't sure whether I was going to, because I'd read the previous two books, Everything But the Truth and Need You Dead, which are sort of similar to each other, and I thought, oh, don't let this be another one. And it wasn't. It's really good. It's sort of spine, but it's not confusing. It's easy for everybody to understand, so I definitely give it a 5.
That's good then. Well, it looks like a good book. I'll probably read that later on.
And I only paid 50p for this, and I don't think it's been read until I read it.
Well, it's been read now.
Yeah.
Right, so the first one I'm going to be giving my opinion on, I won't give a review because Jo's already given a review about 3 or 4 videos ago. I'm going to give my honest opinion on The Book of Shadows by Holly Black. So initially, I brought this from Waterstones for $17.99, brought it when it first came out. And then I regretted buying it because I read reviews online. And after Jo read it, I realised don't ever believe what you read online because, again, it is just people's opinion. So Jo loved this and gave it back to me to read. We initially swapped it within the book swap. And I read this, and my honest opinion is that I absolutely loved it. I was enthralled page by page. It goes into detail, but not too much, not to the point where you're bored and you want it to just end.
It's crucial detail.
Yeah, it's crucial detail. Usually, if I'm bored, what I'll do, let's say I'll start on chapter 4. I'll put my bookmark into chapter 5, and I've got God, how many pages left? I'll put my bookmark into chapter 5, which is 10 pages, so 6 page turns. Yeah. And I'd be like, oh my God, I can't wait to get to chapter 5. But I wasn't like that with this, I just kept reading and reading. Obviously I had to put it down when I went to bed and had food and that. But I read this in 3 days.
Which is...
I didn't get much done after work, but so I was working, coming home, eating, reading, doing a little bit of crocheting. I've got projects to do, so I should have been doing that more than reading. But when you're that enthralled in a book, you don't want the story to end. And then when it did come to an end, even though the ending's good, I didn't want it to end. So hopefully this isn't just a standalone. It's going to be a series. I don't know. I haven't researched into it too much.
The impression I get is there's something to carry on. That's the impression I get.
There's going to be a second one. I can't remember what it's called. But yeah, I love this. I'm going to give it 5 stars out of 5, and not the 2 out of 5 that I've seen online.
You wonder what book they were reading,
I know.
don't you?
But then wait till you get to my review of the next book. and you'll understand not to read things online. So yeah, I love this. 5 out of 5. Much anticipated wait.
Well worth it though.
Yeah, well worth the wait. I am glad Joe read it first because I wasn't going to pick it up without Joe's opinion on it. But yeah, that's that. I like it. I'm going to keep the book. It's not going to charity. That was a short one, but I didn't want to go into too much detail and bore you because Joe has already reviewed the book and our opinions are similar anyway. So I'm going to give that one 5 out of 5.
Brilliant. This one I'm reading, again, this is another one at the charity shop, is called Everything But the Truth by Gilliam McAllister. I read a book called Need You Dead by Peter James before I read this one. And it's a similar subject.
In the same vein, aren't they?
They are very much in the same vein. Rachel loves Jack. She's pregnant with their child. They haven't been. Rachel's from Newcastle. Jack is from Scotland. He comes down to do with his job. They meet, fall in love. She gets pregnant. They haven't been together very long. Now she goes up to meet his family, and his mum isn't overly keen. I think it's because how soon they got into the predicament they're in. And they're out for a walk with the family in Scotland, and they come across this elderly couple. And the woman starts screaming and yelling at Jack. And she's thinking, what's all this about? And they say, his dad steps in and says, I bought some land and built stuff on it and they were against it. But that's not the truth. Basically, their grandchild was shot. And Jack and his family, well, Jack was involved. He shot him.
Oh.
She finds that out. There's stuff about Jack that she finds out and she's thinking, everything he's told me is a lie, everything he's told me is a lie, I can't trust him. And it worries her and worries her. And they end up sort of splitting up. But he does tell her everything. And basically, the truth she doesn't know, and I'm not really going to tell you what the total truth is, but the question is whether the shooting was deliberate or accident, because technically he got away with it.
Well, what's his job though for him to shoot somebody?
Oh, he deals in computers, but he was, what was happening is people were breaking into their home and stealing things, and it was the same people. And they did it. He's got a brother who's autistic, and obviously things happen, it frightens him because he's totally autistic, he's really bad, he's got other things wrong as well. And these troublemakers came into the area and they broke into their home 3 times, and each time nothing was done. They gave each other an alibi. So they got away with all this stuff breaking into the home all the time. They were having to deal with the end result of that, and he got fed up with it. And one of them got shot. And the person who got shot, it was his first time. So this is basically what the story is about, trust. I liked it, but I was thinking of it more, is this a thriller? And I was really looking forward to it being a thriller, but it's not really.
Thrilled.
It's not really a thriller as such. It is a sort of a semi one, but I think it's more of a love story.
Is it suspense?
A bit of suspense there. It's whether, was this deliberate, was it planned, was it not planned, because he got off. He wasn't found guilty. So that's where the suspense is, really.
Would you read it again?
I think, no, only because you know, it's one of these that once you know, that's it, you know. It's a good book. I mean, I would give it a 4. I'd give it a 4 because really, as I was reading it, it's more of a love story in respect of her and him, and her problem with trusting him, and everything she's been told and stuff. She's always had trouble with trusting people because of her mum. Her mum wasn't what you would call a decent mum. She was quite nasty to them, and she used to belittle their dad, and they were closer to the dad, her and her brother, and her sister. And when her mum got cancer, she was really, really poorly, and after she died they were going through obviously all the official documentation, and they found out that their mum had been having an affair for years, and that affected her greatly, because then she got it into her head that everybody is unfaithful except her dad. And she was with a boyfriend, Ben, who she constantly accused of having an affair, even when he wasn't. He never had an affair. He was always faithful to her, but she found it difficult because of what her mum had done, and the fact that her mum had hid it for so long, and they only found it because they found the love letters. And she was still having an affair. So it was only when she got cancer that the affair stopped. So she'd been having it basically through her all through her marriage almost. And her husband just seemed to accept it when he found out, and her sister just acknowledged it, but she couldn't. And it was because of that when this distrust happened with Jack, it just impounded everything. But it is a good read. It is to me, it's a 4 out of 5. I do recommend you read it. You might find it a bit more suspensey than I do.
I find that boring, I think.
I think there's certain parts of it where you think, oh, that's interesting, but yeah, if you look on it as a suspense or a thriller, yeah, you're going to be disappointed. But if you think, okay, it's a bit of a suspense, but it's all to do with trust and love, then, you know, it's a good read. So I do give this a 4 out of 5.
Good. Okay, so mine, next review is Life of Pi by Jan Martell. Now earlier on I said you shouldn't believe what you read online. I found this in a charity shop and I read that this was a sensational book. Winner of the Man Booker Prize, 7 million copies sold worldwide. Now, I don't know if me and other people are reading the same book. I actually read this and in parts I was really bored. The story is really good and it's an exceptional story about survival. A boy who's 16 called Pi, well his name's Piscine, but because he was bullied in school he shortened it to Pi, so people call him Pi. So it's about a boy who is on a lifeboat with a tiger, a hyena, a zebra with a broken leg, and an orangutan, a female orangutan. Now, obviously I can't say what fully happens, but in the end it's just the boy and the tiger on the boat. The tiger's called Richard Parker, because they live in Pondicherry in India, and the dad owns a zoo, and they decide to sell up and move to, I believe it's Winnipeg in Canada. But on the way there, the Japanese, I think it's a cargo boat they're on, sinks, and all his family die, and it's just him left with these animals. And it's a 227-day survival for him. And up until you get to the very end of I'd say the middle of the survival journey, when he starts to befriend the tiger and is not afraid of it anymore, I was actually enthralled. I just wanted to know what happened next, and some of the chapters are really short. They're like 1 pages or 2. See, chapter 58 starts there, you turn the page and then there's chapter 59, so some of the pages are really short. That's fine. The last but 1 chapter took me an hour to read because it's about 40 pages long, and it's about his survival when he actually finds land after 227 days. He ends up in Mexico. I can't pronounce the name of it, but he ends up in Mexico, and some journalists come from Tokyo to interview him. They don't believe his story. They come to find out what made the initial Japanese vessel sink, and he doesn't know because all he hears is an explosion and then the boat is sinking. They throw him overboard, and initially they throw him overboard, I think, to kill him because there's a tiger on the lifeboat. The lifeboat breaks off from the main boat. and then they throw a zebra over as well, but the zebra obviously breaks his leg, the bone is protruding from the skin, and I think that's what makes the hyena latch onto the zebra and, you know, do what he needs to do. But yeah, I was really bored with this. Again, the story is exceptional about, you know, I don't think I'll be able to survive 227 days at sea with no food. Well, initially he doesn't know there's food on the ship, but there is. He doesn't know there's a tiger on the boat, but there is. He only knows that there's a hyena, zebra and orangutan, and then he has to like make a raft to catch fish. The sharks in the water, it's the Pacific Ocean, so it's a shark infested waters as well. But yeah, I was just, was I reading the same book?
It's just written badly, is it?
No, I wouldn't even say it's written badly, but like the first 1/3 of the book is just about their life in India and how they came to sell the zoo, and how he, you know, grew up learning how to swim, how he got the name piscine, because piscine is a French word for swimming pool, and him and Mamaji, which is a uncle in Indian, taught him how to swim from a very young age. So when he was born, they gave him the name Piscine. So because he was bullied in school, they called him Pi. Yeah. So you've got all that information, and his brother, and how his brother's athletic, and you know. Then you've got about 50 chapters. I'd say. Let me just get to section 3 of the book, which is when he's, yes, it's chapter 90, I believe it is.
How many chapters?
There's 100 chapters in this book, but they're written so small that it's quite a small book anyway, and the font is quite small, so it doesn't last very long. It only took me like a few days to read, but it's not like with the Book of Night, which I was not anticipating reading anyway, but I couldn't put that one down. With this one, I'd put it down and then forget about it, and then I'll pick it up again a day later. It wasn't like I was reaching for the book.
No.
Now I know it's an exceptional story, but for me, in parts, I was just really bored. And I don't know if that's the way Jan Martell writes, because I know he's wrote a book about the history of Portugal or something, that apparently didn't do very well. I don't know if that is him actually referring to himself at the beginning of the book. But the person who Pi is telling the story to of his survival is an author that's wrote a book around the history of Portugal. So I'll put 2 and 2 together, and I estimated it to that's Jan Martell writing about himself. But I was just really bored. So to me, it wasn't an extraordinary work of fiction, because I have read better books than this. The story is captivating, you know, because how he managed to survive is beyond me. So that part of the book I really liked. It's before and after. Like, I don't think the before was necessary in that much detail. But you learn about the boy at school, you learn about the zoo. That's what I wanted to learn about in the beginning of the book, was the zoo, and how the animals came to be on the boat as well. Because all the dad says to the boys is they're moving to Canada. So you think, oh yeah, he's going to sell the zoo, the animals are going to remain in India, but no, some of the animals went with them. But it goes into so much detail about their lives, the dad, that he's worshipping the Christian god, worshipping the Jewish god, I believe, and worshipping the Hindu god Vishnu. So he wants to worship all, you know, be part of 3 religions, and they're telling him that he can't, but I don't feel that that's necessary. Like, comment down below if you've read this book and if I've just misunderstood it. I don't believe I have, because I'm quite an intelligent person, but to me this isn't extraordinary. I only give it 3 stars out of 5, and that's because I like the story. I like the survival story, the survival elements of it, and that how the boy managed to befriend a 450-pound Bengal tiger and live to tell the tale. How he managed to survive eating raw fish and turtle and shark fin and things like that, and how he didn't get any kind of infection from, you know, constantly being wet. His clothes disintegrated because they're constantly wet and, you know, friction. So he ended up naked as well. I was just, I don't think I'll read this again. I don't think I'll watch the film either. Although the film's probably better, But obviously, how a book's written, you can't always get that detail into a movie, can you? I don't think I'll watch the film now, and this is just going to end up back where I got it from, a charity shop. Unfortunately, that's my opinion on it, and it was good, like I said. I wouldn't be able to survive at sea, but to me, I wouldn't pick it up again. I wasn't looking forward to picking up the book and finishing it. I had to, because I didn't want to come into this video today and say I didn't finish the book. Not because I was lazy, but because I didn't want to. But I wanted to finish the book to see what happens, but I wasn't looking forward to finishing the book. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So I only give it 3 stars out of 5 today.
Do you? Well, I'm definitely not going to read it.
No, you would like it, Jo, I don't think.
Okay, so we're now into August.
We've got 3 weeks left, haven't we?
Yeah. And
2 and a bit weeks.
we have. So what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be away the bank holiday weekend. I'm going to Norwich with the cat. Now we're going to Norwich. So we'll probably do a review before then, and I'm going to be reviewing.
Don't forget it for you.
No, I'm all right. I'm going to be reviewing Need You Dead by Peter James, and Jonathan Livingston Seagull by Richard Bach. I read this years and years ago. It was published in the 70s. So those are the 2 I'm going to be reviewing.
Okay.
What 2 are you going to be reviewing next time?
Well, in the last video I mentioned that this was potentially going to be one that I was reading with Life of Pi and the Book of Night. I didn't manage to get round to reading it. So I'll be reviewing this one and A Slow Fire Burning by Paula Hawkins. Right,
that sounds good. Also, come September, come here. We've got our Agatha Christie month.
Yes, our Murder Mystery month.
Our Murder Mystery month, which we're going to do several murder mystery books on it. I know. She don't agree with it, do you? Sorry. So we're going to do, I'm going to be reviewing probably, the beginning of September, Ramp Up to Murder, which is a real murder case that James Patterson wrote about, and Murder in Real Life, which is another real life murder that he's written about. We're both going to be reviewing Agatha Christie books.
Yeah, 2 each, I believe.
Yeah, and J.
Gill books as well.
Yeah, now I'm probably going to go over them again because I read them at the beginning of the year. So I'm going to be reviewing Dead Man's Folly, which is on cassette. Now those of you who are of a certain age and don't even know what cassettes look like, I'm going to show you. This is a cassette, and you have a little player and you put it in and you press play and you listen. It's very easy to do. And David Suchet reads it, who plays Hercule Poirot in the series. So I'm going to be reviewing Dead Man's Folly, and I'm going to be reading an Agatha Christie book that my mum had, but I don't know which one it's going to be yet, because she had a few.
Yeah.
And what one, in what you're going to be doing, apart from reading
The J. Gill, Agatha Christie. I think I'm going to be reading the Tommy and Tuppence one. I can't remember what it's called. I mentioned it in the last video. I haven't got them with me, unfortunately. And I'll be reading The Body in the Library, which is a Hercule Poirot, isn't it?
No, I thought it was a Miss Marple, unless it was just Miss Marple for the TV series.
No, it is a Miss Marple one, sorry. Yes, Body in the Library is a Miss Marple one. I'd really like the TV show for that one. That's my favourite with Geraldine McEwen. I'm going to be reading that one, and I haven't got any more murder mysteries apart from them, I don't think. So I might just read 3 Agatha Christie's and review 2 or 3 of the J. Gill. So I'll be doing quite a few. I've got 6 books there to review, which is fine because the J. Gill ones are quite small anyway.
Yeah, that's true. So I'm also going to be reviewing Patricia Cornwell. Those that know, she is really, really good with the Kay Scarpetta novels. And I've got these 2 from a gift shop at the Winterbourne Gardens, which I went on Friday with my sister. And we went into the bookshop, and there was, you could buy the sale books, 50p each, or you could have 5 for £2. And I got these 2 for 50p each. So I'm going to be reading those 2 also probably for September, which I will get done. I will manage to do it, mainly because of the situation at the moment. So those are the ones I'm going
got
to
a lot
be.
to review.
We have got a lot to review. So come September we'll tell you what our plans are for October. But we're also hoping, even if it's just for the day, to go to the Agatha Christie.
We're hoping to go.
Yeah.
Depends what our circumstances and finances are like.
Yes.
But we're hoping to go, yes, to the
Yes.
Agatha Christie Festival down in Torquay in Devon.
Yeah.
For the 15th, not the 15th of September.
When does it start?
I don't know the date from the top of my head, but I believe it's a 2-week festival.
Right.
So we'll have to get the dates for that. I know her birthday's on the 15th, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And I can't go then all that weekend because that's my mum's birthday on the 16th. So it's
The following, the one weekend, back to me glasses. I'll be in Redditch and Paynton the ending of September because Cats in Space start their tour again next month, September. They start on the 8th of 9th where they're in Stockport, and then the 9th of the 9th, which is Bathgate, which is in Scotland. And they go to several places, Bury, Frome, Southend. Redditch and Paynton is the end of September, so if the festival's still going on then, I'll be in Paynton on the 30th of September.
okay. Then I'll just have to come down if it is. But I'll have a look at the dates and I'll put them here. So I'll put them here so we'll know where and when we'll be there.
Yeah, exactly. So if you want to have a look at the Cats in Space dates, you'll have to go on their website, which is www.catsinspace.co.uk.
Well guys, that's everything. Done a lot of talking, a lot of books to review, coming up. We hope you enjoyed this video. Comment down below, comment on Facebook or on Instagram, or even send us an email if you wish. If you don't want your comment to be public, that's fine. But yeah, until next time guys, take care and keep reading. Bye.